Indirect talks between Israeli and Palestinian negotiators aimed at finding a long-term solution to the conflict in Gaza have begun in Cairo, according to Egyptian state media. The fresh discussions come amid a new three-day ceasefire agreed between Israel and the Islamist group Hamas. A BBC reporter in Gaza says the truce is holding so far, with signs of normal life returning to the streets. About 2,000 people have died since the fighting in Gaza began on 8 July. Those killed include more than 1,900 Palestinians, mostly civilians, according to the UN. 64 Israeli soldiers have been killed in the fighting and 3 civilians in Israel have also died. A Palestinian woman walks next to a destroyed residential tower block in Beit Lahiya, northern Gaza Strip, 11 August 2014. Nearly 2,000 Palestinians, mostly civilians, have been killed since the start of the conflict on 8 July. A Palestinian man walks past the remains of the mosque in Khan Younis that was destroyed by an Israeli airstrike, 11 August 2014. The ceasefire should allow more humanitarian aid into Gaza, where thousands have been left homeless. On Friday, Israeli negotiators had left Cairo after failing to agree a deal with their Palestinian counterparts. But the Israeli delegation arrived back in Egypt's capital on Monday after agreeing to resume talks as long as the 72-hour ceasefire, which began at midnight, 2100 hours GMT Sunday, held. Militants in Gaza said they had fired several rockets towards Israel shortly before the truce got underway, and Israeli airstrikes had continued on Sunday evening, but the ceasefire has been respected since. The Israeli government spokesman, Mark Jeev, said the Israeli military would be ready to act to protect our people if Hamas violated the agreement. Hamas spokesman Sami Abu Zuhri said its representatives would be involved in the Cairo talks, but warned that it was the last chance to find a long-term solution to the conflict. Correspondents say Israel will continue to demand the demilitarization of Gaza, while Hamas will resume its calls for Israel's blockade of the Palestinian territory to be lifted. Israel has previously said that the lifting of blockades would only be dealt with in future talks on a permanent peace deal. In an interview on Monday, Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Yuval Steinitz said that disarming militants in Gaza was crucial to chances of a long-term truce. If a diplomatic solution was not possible, he told Israeli radio, then he was convinced that sooner or later the Israeli army would have to take temporary control of Gaza to demilitarize it again. Palestinian fishermen in Gaza City returned to sea during a 72-hour ceasefire, 11 August 2014. Palestinian fishermen in Gaza City made the most of the 72-hour ceasefire by getting back on the water. An Israeli soldier washes a tank at a staging area near the border with the Gaza Strip, 10 August 2014. Israeli tanks left Gaza last week after the army said it had destroyed a tunnel network used by Hamas. Line. Human cost of the conflict. Palestinian deaths. 1,948 killed, including at least 1,402 civilians. 456 children. 237 women. Israeli deaths. 64 soldiers. 2 civilians. 1 Thai national in Israel,